Well, talk to me. What's good? What are you feeling excited about?
I'm feeling excited about just some of our new business partners and just the synergy with working with, winners, being in a winner's circle. You know,
hmm
I mean, for so long, it was like, the energy was just not there. But now it's like something totally different. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited about um, just like taking control of certain situations. Um, I got a lot of resistance on a few things, but once I put my foot down and I was just like, hey, look, this is what it is. This is what you're going to do. Um,
hmm
you know, it definitely like shifted in my favor. And some things that I'm just like, I'm not doing that. It's just not going to happen. Um,
hmm
and I think I'm excited about that too, because I just feel like I just took control of some situations that I felt like were just spiraling out of control. So
hmm
I'm excited about that as well. What about you?
Mm.
What are you excited about?
Um, I'm thinking about the conversation I had with Nikki earlier.
Hmm.
And before you jumped on, we were talking about, when you start out in business, you're a team with me, right? The culture, the operations, the entire modus operandi is you.
Hmm.
And then even when you start taking on staff, personnel, affiliates, et cetera, et cetera, your relationship with your vendors, it's still just you. Like you have to be the hero in your business.
Yep.
But at some point, you have to make the transition where you're no longer the hero and you can spend more of your time on the culture
Right.
and you put systems in place to make sure your operations are smooth. And, you know, as an organization right now, we're having a moment. Um, the success is becoming readily apparent. More and more people are beginning to understand that it's not a game, that we're not just a bunch of randoms.
Hmm.
Um, we have a system that works. We're making an impact. We're bringing value to the community. And, those of us who are plugged into the system and culture are prosperous. And that's what I'm most excited about, that I feel like our culture that we're building is really determining a lot of success as opposed to just one individual or just two individuals, right?
Right.
People are finally starting to get it. That's the thing that I'm most excited about. At the end of the day, that's the thing that has me very much enthusiastic about the work and looking forward to the coming days and weeks and months ahead of us. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm feeling good about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
hmm
awesome.
hmm And watching your growth and maturation, but we have two, three other people who are finally beginning to operate with more independence and taking more agency and responsibility for what happens in their businesses.
Hmm.
All those things are absolutely incredible. I'm loving it. So when we started the year, I haven't talked about it as much as I should, but you're going to start hearing me talk about it more and more that it's about leaders building leaders, you know? And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that we are duplicating leadership, not just productivity, but leadership, right? People who can influence and people who can lead, people who understand the principles that undergird our success. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, on the flip side, while we're having this moment, I'm also thinking critically about. There's a book out there by Patrick Bet David. It talks about, I think, your next five moves. But he also talks quite a bit about choosing your enemies wisely. Um, and if you show me a person's enemies, um, it'll definitely be a tell in terms of how big they are,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It'll be a tell in terms of how serious you should take them, right? If people are choosing small enemies, um, like minor issues. They're a minor leader, they're a minor person. And what I'm careful about right now, as we're having this moment, is number one, not to drink the Kool-Aid, um,
Yeah.
not to believe that a lot of success is happening because I'm so great or that our leadership cadre is so great. Um, and making sure that I'm always cognizant of that. Um, Also, what ends up happening in all organizations, I don't care if they're political, if it's in the sports arena, in the business space, what ends up happening is you start having success, and we've seen this time and time again, and then you become disconnected from the
Yes.
things that brought you to success in the first place. So staying relevant to our new partners, making sure that I'm not so much focused on those who are doing well, but making sure that the ground is fertile, if not more fertile, for the new business partners that are coming on. Because if we're doing what we should be doing correctly, their success should come faster, right? They should level up more rapidly if we're really focused on the right things and making sure that we're giving everyone an opportunity to take this incredible service offering and value prop that we have to the marketplace. So I'm thinking critically about that. And then, of course, what we were talking about earlier, right? It's real easy to start having success once again, start drinking the Kool-Aid, and then you start making errors in judgment, unforced errors, right? You believe you're too big for the program, or you believe that you can start doing whatever, saying whatever, getting away with whatever, and you can self-sabotage.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and we've seen that a lot, unfortunately. There's a
Even
million
some
stories
people,
we can pull from.
yeah, even some people who've been totally transparent and authentic with sharing how they did it to themselves.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, yeah.
So when they can actually see like, okay, yeah, I definitely was out of order and I made some wrong choices and now I'm back. So
Mhm,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, so those are the things I'm thinking about. A game that I like to play with myself, and I'm going to do it today. I'm going to pull out my journal, and I'm literally just going to write down a grocery list of all the dumb decisions, or all the mistakes, or all the errors in judgment, or all the threats that could derail what we've been able to accomplish here. I'm going to write those things down,
Hmm.
um, and make sure that um, that the direction that I move in and that we move in isn't predicated upon those things, but there's an awareness, right? There's a little bit of paranoia, which I think could be good for you if you're an entrepreneur. Um, once you think you know everything, once you think you're untouchable, you stop growing. I don't want to see that happen. So, coming out of convention, and we have some really important events on the calendar over the next 2, 3 months. I want to make sure that's top of mind, right? Um, Now's not the time to get comfortable and to get sloppy.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about some of the more egregious examples that we've seen. We were talking about that brother earlier that got caught up earlier this year. And I remember just shaking my head like, dag, man, you messed up the bag over this. Uh,
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. You're just like, all right. Yeah,
hmm.
it was
Hmm.
definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely crazy.
Uh-huh. Um, it's funny as I'm thinking about this, I remember a conversation, a leadership retreat, if you will, that I went to. And there was a couple mentors in the room, and I asked them, I said, what do you do to make sure that you're not drinking the Kool-Aid? What do you do to make sure that you don't think too highly of yourself? And I remember listening to the response, and I'm not going to ever criticize people too much who are way more successful than I am. But I was a little bit taken back by the response. They're like, I am the shit. They were like, no, I am that guy. I am that girl. No, I don't do stuff that's wrong. And I remember looking at him like, all right now,
Right. Remember you
uh,
said that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay.
Right, we're doing a
Uh,
little too much here.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, as a business owner and as a leader, one of the most important lessons I've learned is that people are never as bad as you think they are.
Hmm.
And you're never as good as you think you are,
Right.
right? You can be crushing it today and sitting on the curb tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. With the quickness. And
Yeah,
we've seen it
yeah.
happen. Yeah, we've
Hmm.
seen it happen. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm. All it happens all day, every day.
Hmm.
On a macro level, you see companies that thought they were too big to fail, start taking shortcuts, start becoming obtuse in their thinking,
Hmm.
stop being creative and open to new stimuli and open to new ideals within a framework, of course. But and they get wiped out. And I'm thinking about that critically. Um, you know, and what can we do once again to address those threats, right? I have an ideal of what some of them are, but not all of them.
Right.
But the ones that I am aware of, that I am cognizant of, I'm going to work like a crazy person over the next 2 to 3 months to make sure that the organization is inoculated from those things. Um, because once you start having success, what ends up happening is like the dull knives are attracted to you like moths to a flame,
For
right?
sure.
And a lot of times they're not doing it on purpose. They just are who they are. And if they're operating at a lower frequency, if you're not careful, you'll look up and you'll be moving and operating in a mediocre way as well. Like I'm thinking about what Malat said at the breakout, right? He said one of the reasons why he had success was he protected his organization from the veterans.
Hmm.
And I knew exactly what he was talking about. You have people in the marketplace who've been underperforming and they will gladly share and infect your organization with their mediocrity. Um, you know, that probably was the best thing to happen to me going to convention because I had a chance to see people who were and talk to people and glean wisdom from people who are operating at a much higher level than I am.
Yeah.
And to see that, no, you can go faster, you can be better, you can be more efficient, you can be more effective.
You can
Uh,
outperform others too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Um, so those are the things I'm thinking about. Um, and that's why I'm excited, but I'm not trying to get too high.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to
I'm not
keep
trying
it
to. Mm-hmm.
in like a comfortable like realm. You don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
too excited. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I am, what goes up must come down.
Hmm.
Um, there's always going to be corrections that need to occur.
Oh, for sure.
And once again, you just got to be open to that. Like, you don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. So, yeah, yeah, that's what's on my mind now, but I'm excited about that challenge too.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm. Hmm. What was your biggest, now that we're almost a week removed? My gosh, no, we're not. I guess I've just been running so
No,
hard.
'cause we came
I've,
back
I've
on
lost.
Monday. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
would
came
say
back on Monday. It's been four
I've,
days.
I've lost track of time. I'm just,
It's been
'cause
4 days.
'cause I haven't really slowed down since we've been back. So it's just
I mean,
all
you
one
can't
big
slow
blur.
down. Yeah, you
Hmm.
can't slow down. What will be the
Hmm.
point of that? It's
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, to me, everybody in our organization, especially those our business partners that we all went down there, everybody has 10x and kicked
Hmm.
up a notch. I can see the
Hmm.
momentum in the group. So
Hmm.
that's exciting too. And it's contagious.
Hmm.
Even with our new business partners, they're getting the after effect of it too, and they're kicking it up. We've got two people who fast start qualified this week. We had some,
Hmm.
even more probably that I don't even know about. We had some little
Yeah.
technical difficulties, but we, worked right through that. Like, okay, here we go.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from the conference was just being consistent and persistent when people who are like real leadership, people who show up every time, are saying things like, who cares if they quit? Who cares if they don't show up? Keep going. Who
Hmm.
cares? It's like, okay, well, that's coming from, people who are saying, oh, you're like my business mom, this and that. Like, it was that, all of that energy, and just seeing people share, um, their ups and downs too. Like, different times that people were sharing different things where they were like, hey, I did this didn't work out, I came back. I think that was my biggest takeaway, was just how people, when they're building their business, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're staying consistent to the process that's already been laid for you. There, you don't have to try to reinvent anything. And I also was really glad for the information in regards to like how what we're doing and what we're offering is not going to be interrupted by AI, because what we're offering, you need people. It's about, building relationships with people. And that's something that AI just simply can't do. So that's
Hmm.
what sets us apart from other industries where it's very, very apparent that, there's a lot of things happening in those other companies and those other industries where AI is, replacing jobs and taking people out of the workforce. And, we're definitely in a position to win. So that was my biggest takeaway from it.
Mm. I like it.
Big picture. So,
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
What
What are
about
you gonna
you?
do? Mm.
There's so much, I could probably
Hmm.
talk for like 2 days about it. Like, Eric, oh,
Mm.
this one, that one, this person, that person. There was so much. And I took probably, like, no exaggeration, at least a half a notebook full of notes.
Hmm.
Yeah, at least, if not more.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. You're a fool if you didn't. Like, I forgot who said it, but she was on the stage and she said, for those of you who are not taking notes, who are not taking the opportunity seriously, you're in the room with the elite of the elite,
hmm
and you're taking this for granted. She's like, don't start hating when people come out of this space crushing it, and you didn't come here and do what you were supposed to do, which is soak all of it up and grow through it, not just go to it.
absolutely.
Um, and it's going to be a lot of that.
Oh,
Be a lot of that. I
I agree.
remember, yeah. Hell, I remember why we were there looking at the salty faces. I was like, okay, all right, that's what we doing. Okay, so, um, man, it was so much like you said. I think the thing, and I hate to just keep going back to the same thing, but um, it's just what's on top of mind. Like what I came out of conference knowing as well is that we were doing a lot of things right.
Yes.
A lot of what came out of conference, I saw a lot of duplications, let's put it that way.
I did too.
Um, and I saw where we have a significant competitive advantage. Um, and it just edified even more and fortified my belief that we should continue to step on the pedal in that respect, right? Push our competitive
Absolutely.
advantage. There's several people that I've been having conversations with, like, no, don't deviate from the formula. Like, I know the shiny object syndrome is there. I know you saw A, B, C, and D, but understand that we are winning, and that success doesn't necessarily manifest itself immediately, but stay the course, it will manifest. Like we are on the tip of the spear in our marketplace, and I would definitely argue we're the tip of the spear um, in the company in many respects. So um, I took that from it as well, right? Aside from everything else I learned, it just once again it was a very edifying moment to kind of see the direction that the company's going, see the direction the leadership in the company's going, but also see that we're ahead of the curve. And I'm excited about that. We just need to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and we just
Um,
need to seguir adelante, like keep going, keep moving forward, keep up the momentum. You know, there's a lot of people who have said things that is like in my head, like do so much that you have no choice but to succeed. Like,
yeah,
you know, you're making so many exposures and you're making contact with so many different people, make it so that there's no way that you can't
yeah,
be on top. You know,
that's
like
the
you with the 300 points, the 500 points. That's exactly what you're talking about. So, you
mhm,
know, and that's definitely the way to go. So you're not and I feel like when you're in that situation, you move different and you look at stuff different too cuz it's like, all right, well, I mean, on to the next one. Like, okay, you'll be back.
mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, don't make your minimum your maximum.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And I think that's super important, you know.
Mhm,
Yeah. And I think too, what I really like about our organization is because we had talked about it, especially in regards to like real estate and other um businesses. Our leadership and our group, we lead by example. We're in the
mhm,
trenches doing it. You know,
mhm,
we're standing shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, we're doing it. There's nothing worse than being in a place where the people who are giving you instruction are not doing what they're telling you to do,
mhm,
and they're not leading by example. And
mhm,
it like really it like deflates people's ideology of like, you know, what's going on. It's a total turn off, and I see it so often, especially in real estate. um
mhm,
it's really an epidemic for real, you know,
mhm,
where people are talking the talk, but they're certainly not walking the walk.
mhm.
So, and that's what I like
Yeah,
about our organization is we don't talk the talk, we walk the walk, and we show with actual results. Like, no, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I'm at with this, you know, and here goes
mhm,
the results from it. So,
mhm,
and another thing, the numbers don't lie. You know, the numbers are what they are, and once you see
mhm,
that, you're like, oh, okay, okay, there we go. You know,
mhm,
you know, shots fired, mic drop, on to the next one. You know, so
mhm,
that's definitely what I like about our group and our organization. So,
mhm. Yeah, the quickest way to dissuade talented people and the people who are working is to the one be on that BS.com, like you said, perpetrating,
mhm,
cosplaying. And then because what ends up happening is then people who receive recognition, people who begin to acquire agency, it becomes less about like production and merit and effort, and it starts to devolve into nepotism. Like I'm just going to
mhm,
promote you because I like you. I'm just going to promote you because you look attractive. I'm gonna give you agency, and I'm gonna give you a modicum of control, or I'm gonna give you a title, just because you appear to be something, right? As opposed to proving it. That is always the quickest way to dissuade peak performers. It's always the quickest way. Um, I remember when I was in the investment advising industry active, that would, well, for me, it would just fire me up. It would give me energy to go slay them. But still, um, I was less inclined to kind of quote unquote plug in because once you see that it's some bullshit, um, particularly if you're actually out there trying to make a difference and you're out there with a mission and you're out there Like you're about that business. You don't want to be bothered with it. Um,
Yeah.
and when I think about the culture of our organization, that is the one thing that I am very much about protecting, right?
Mhm.
We work, we leave activity, work side by side, we lift as we climb, um, and leadership um, is predicated upon exampleship, right? Are you doing the deal? And you obviously have observed that, and you get excited about it because you know the difference.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
very, very prevalent, and you can see it, and it's easy to identify.
Mhm.
That's the thing. It's not a secret. It's definitely very easy to identify. So,
To us, it is.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I think when you've been operating in a certain space and you've been doing things by yourself for so long, it's it's very easy to spot. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the top three things you're gonna do
Different.
differently now that you had a chance to kind of reflect?
Rapid funnel definitely is going to be definitely taking center stage. I've already had my contacts uploaded there.
Mhm.
I've always used PPLSI, prospecting app. I really love, love, love that. And just being more intentional, more delegation of tasks, more standard operating procedures, and also too just building relationships more. Like not just focusing on the relationships I already have, but building new ones, trying to
Mhm.
meet new people daily. um, I think that's definitely the key to success in any business because we have multiples. So I mean, your network determines your net worth, and I
Mhm.
see that clearly, and have seen it clearly. And I just feel like I'm going to be super aggressive about building those relationships with new people and um, letting people know exactly what I do and my value prop and what I bring to the table and my superpowers, and just taking it a day at a time like I've been doing. And also
Mhm.
to clearing out some of the fodder and just like um, situations that don't serve me. I've definitely been being very aggressive about, hey, look, this has to, we got to resolve this, um, so that I can focus on, the things I need to focus on and put
Mhm.
those things I don't need to focus on in my rear view and avoid those kind of situations altogether.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You just said something that caught my attention. What do you think your superpower is?
Oh, I know what it is. I
I
read,
want to
write, and
hear
speak
it.
Spanish. I read, write, and speak Spanish. That's my superpower. And I have a contractor's eye too. Like when I go someplace and I'm looking at a house, I'm not looking at it like, "Ooh, that's pretty." I'm looking at it like, okay, let me just anywhere I go. Like I went and looked at two apartment buildings the other day and I went straight to the basement. I'm like, yeah, it looks great
Mhm.
upstairs, but I want to see this basement. I want to see if there's, what the walls look like, what does it smell like? Do we have like a old school octopus furnace? What do we got going on here? We got a boiler. Does it look like Freddy Krueger in there? Or what's the deal? You know, so I think that's another superpower. But definitely, I think my first one is the fact that I read, write, and speak Spanish because throughout like my professional endeavors in real estate and contracting, has definitely been a game changer. So, especially when people don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's the fun part.
That's funny.
It is. It can be very funny.
Mhm.
It can definitely be very, very funny. So,
Mhm.
and honestly, most things are funnier in Spanish. Like when you're talking to other people that speak Spanish, stuff is just funnier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. What about you? What's your superpower?
Mm. Cutting through the BS. cutting
Okay.
through the BS. And that can be applicable in so many ways, like being able to listen and immediately ascertain where a person or organization is in their process. And I can name a lot of other things. I mean, I think out of majority of people that I come across, even those who are more successful than me, um, I'm very consistent. I'm very consistent. I remember Star Trek. I used to watch it all the time as a kid. And one of my favorite characters in the series was the Borg,
Hmm.
right? Because they were very predictable, very consistent. There was nothing really spectacular about them, but the way they went about their business, right, was just absolutely relentless, consistent, like cold mathematical. And for me, I've always had the ability when, even when shit's on fire, right? Even when there's chaos and nonsense taking place, become very focused on the things that matter most, and having that vision to see things through. So it served me in my personal life, and it has served me in business. So that's the one thing, like being incredibly consistent, and keeping the main thing the main thing. Um, a young man that I was kind of I'm mentoring him indirectly. He's not ready to sit next to me. He just it's too much he needs to learn, and it'll be like feeding a child steak.
Hmm.
But I remember a couple weeks ago while I was at a networking event, he was there watching me interact with people and listening to the advice and guidance I was giving. And he came up to me, says, "Man, it's like you're talking to people." And he's like, "You can see where their strengths and weaknesses are right out the gate, right? You can see almost immediately what their next step should be." He's like, "You're like 3 and 4 and 5 steps ahead." And he was like, "Well, how do you do that?" I was like, "Number one, humility. I don't think I always have the answer. So because of that, I'm more willing to be open-minded and listen.
Hmm.
I don't assume. I mean, we're all guilty of it to an extent, including myself. But I try never to assume things when I'm listening to people and when I'm engaging people. Right? I try to look at people with a clean slate, um, and then just absurd. Like for me, not learning every single day will be equivalent of not eating. Like learning is eating for me, right? So just 100% laser focus and being aware of the fact that it's not what you know, is what you don't know that kills you in business. So I want to know what I don't know just as much as I want to be confident what it is that I do know, right?
Right.
I want to be aware of all my blind spots. I want to be aware of all the areas in which I can improve. I want to be when I come across subject matter or I come across a person that's more advanced than me, I'm not intimidated by it. Matter of fact, I want to get in it and ask a million questions, bump my head, do all the things I need to do to learn it as quickly as possible, and just being unabashed about failing. Right. For me, I think that's the thing that is one of the superpowers that I have.
Hmm.
So, and is, being a good communicator. I guess, some people would say I'm a great communicator. I think I'm a good communicator, and I want to maintain that humility so I can get even better at it. So, when I think about my superpower or superpowers, those are the things that um, I can stand 10 toes down on, right? Um, and then, I mean, as you well know, I just don't give a F. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you can talk ish about me or the things I'm involved in all day long. Like, um, there's little to nothing. And I mean, the only people whose opinion I cared enough that might give me pause passed away years
Hmm.
ago. So, um, now something that someone says about me or to me is not gonna dampen my esteem at all. Like uh, I'm very clear on who I am. I'm very clear on what I'm not. I'm
Right.
very clear on whose I am.
Hmm.
And people's opinion of that, I could give a rat's ass. Like time will either promote or expose you. And I
Absolutely.
like that.
Hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, I
I like that.
agree. Um, and I think too, something that really is important in all business is to be able to actively listen, like listen to understand, not to just respond.
Hmm.
And I think that that's the key to being successful in most businesses, so
Hmm.
that you can serve whatever, whatever the demographic is, whatever your, mission is, that you're able to serve better. Because if you have that skill set and you work on that skill set, it'll definitely serve you.
Yeah. 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 Um, got a lady I'm supposed to be meeting with here in a couple of moments. I just want to make sure she's aware. Um, you know, man, we have so many advantages as an organization, but I'm gonna tell you the thing that is really gonna separate us a year from now, and the thing that I think I'm gonna be most proud of is when people look up a year from now, we're not gonna be that black or that brown organization. We're just gonna be an organization that's successful.
Right.
Like I fully believe we're on a path where we're gonna have an organization that is just full of diversity. Um, And for me, that's exciting because I think it falls right in line with the direction the company's going too, right? Being able um, to attract more people in the tent from different ethnic and socioeconomic and backgrounds, right? I think that's huge, the direction the company's going, where we're going to have the capacity to communicate, where language is no longer going to be a barrier. And of course, you know better than most that when you talk about language, you're also talking about culture,
Yes.
right? Someone coming from a different cultural background will no longer be a barrier. I'm really excited about that. Like nothing will make me more excited to look up and next year and let's say the organization is like um, 40% comprised of individuals from all these varying backgrounds, but on the same page in terms of the mission
Hmm.
and a willingness to be accountable to it. Like I really firmly believe that's the direction that we're headed. And I love that too. I know it
I do
offends.
too. I think we're definitely going to be able to diversify, especially with what we are rolling out within
Mhm,
basically days.
mhm,
So, yeah, it's going to
mhm,
like throw open the floodgates.
mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I know it may be offensive to people who lack vision and belief, or who are, um, they've kind of set their own ceiling and encapsulated themselves.
Hmm.
But, I've said from the beginning of my entrepreneur journey, um, I don't want to be a black business owner. I want to be an African American that owns a business.
Right.
Um, and I want everybody's money. Everybody collects everybody else's money. We need to do the same. Right.
I mean,
So,
I think like, so why, yeah, I mean, why would it be not okay for you to say it, but okay for someone else to say it? And I think all business owners need to be and embrace that. Like, I'm a business owner. I want to do business with anybody who wants to do business. Take the things out that you can't control, like
hmm,
gender or background. Like, those are
yeah,
things that are beyond your control. But what is in my control is the fact that I'm a business owner looking to do business with other people who want to do business.
yeah,
That's the key takeaway from that. And I
hmm,
think if we can all get on that page, then we can all seguir adelante and move forward fast.
hmm,
So that's the key right there. Is the correct mindset.
yeah, yeah. I
And
agree.
the correct attitude. Because I
Hmm.
think sometimes people their attitude can kind of hold them in a certain position where they're limiting themselves just because of the thoughts that they're having.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Um, People imprison themselves.
yeah.
Yeah. And what's really possible and what's really available to them. Um, so I'm really glad that we finally have a collective of individuals whom I believe understand that as well. Right. So yeah, I'm on 10 about that too. I mean, it's just a lot to be excited about.
Oh, absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think another takeaway that I took away from the conference was, unless, and this is going to sound crude and unladylike, but so be it, unless you are dead in a coma or just, you know, crapping out of a bag someplace, if there's no way that you should ever miss it. Like it's to me, even if you had to roll up pennies and take bottles back, whatever you have to do, there's no
Mhm.
reason for you to miss it, because both of them that I've been to, and you've been to 10,000 more than me, um, there was so much information that you wouldn't have gotten. And it would really, for real, because seldomly do I feel like FOMO. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But
Mhm.
definitely for that, it'd be like, damn, what did I miss? You know, even some of the people from our organization, they're like, oh, what's this? How do you do this? How do you do? I'm like, bruh, you missed it.
Mhm.
Like, and I try to, like, kind of keep it under wraps. I don't want to like be too like rubbing it in their face. But it's like, you really did miss it. You missed it, you know? So
Mhm.
yeah, that's another takeaway. Don't ever miss it. It doesn't matter what you got going on. You gotta
Mhm.
go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like you gotta go. So
Yeah.
start
I
planning now. If you got it, that's how your situation is set up. You better start planning now. Put $1 away a week or whatever you got to do. You know, just do
yeah,
it.
you must get in environment
Hmm.
where people are succeeding at a high level. Like I remember
Absolutely.
I was listening to a um podcast. I can't remember the name of it. I try to give people their flowers and I learn from them.
Hmm.
But it was talking about it was a gentleman who's a business owner, and they asked him, if you lost everything today, what's the first thing you would do? And he said the first thing I would do is I would scratch together as many pennies as I could, and I would go where the most successful people are at. I would go where the people who are operating on a real financially high level are at. I would go where the speed is at, right? And he said, look, because in those spaces, people think bigger. In those spaces, literally, just by being in that space, opportunities will come your way that wouldn't be available to you elsewhere. By being in that space, you can. The other thing too, that was mentioned in the video, but I would even do a deeper dive on it. And I was thinking about this today, like the success that I'm enjoying today is a result of the man and the person that I am today.
Hmm.
And so if I want greater things, if I want more success, you have to become a person that can execute and make that success happen. Like oftentimes people spend so much time blaming their environment and blaming people and blaming circumstances and blaming this and blaming that. But at some point, especially if you've been doing something for an extended period of time, you have to look in the mirror and say, no, it's me. Because
Yeah.
there are other people who are having success and there are other people winning at what it is that I'm doing. You can't continue to blame the algorithm. You can't continue to blame any type of algorithm, not just on social media, but life algorithms, right? You have to realize that no, you are just not that guy or that gal yet. And you need to
You need to level
kill
up. You need to level
the
up.
yeah, you need to kill the things that the person that you are that's not helping you get to where you want to be. And you need to embrace new thinking. You need to embrace a new frameworks. You have to embrace
Hmm.
new expectations. And if you don't get into spaces like what we experience at convention, but I mean, even between now and a year from now, there are going to be plenty of opportunities to get in rooms with people who are just moving more rapidly, have bigger expectations, exercise a greater degree of accountability, demand more of themselves and the people around them. You must put yourself in those spaces because if you're top dog in a shitty environment, well, you still shitty. You just
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
just top dog in a shitty environment, but the
The
shit
top
is
dog in
still
that environment.
it's but if the environment is producing shit results, then what good is it? You know?
Exactly.
Um, get
And you're
over
going to be
yourself.
stagnant. And the problem with that is you're going to be stagnant. You're not going to grow,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So it's you definitely have to, like you said, be comfortable being uncomfortable. You want to be in those environments where you feel like, oh wow, I need to get out my pen and pad. I'm taking notes on what they're saying because I don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Those are kind of environments you want to be in if you want to level up. So,
Hmm.
and like you said, the past is the past. Nobody can change it. You know, it is what it is. Yesterday was yesterday. Today, you can choose to be different and you can choose to, level up, put yourself in the environment where you have the opportunity to level up. So,
Hmm.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing too is it can't. I guess I'm just going to harp on this. And with you and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but for people who are listening to this, you got to understand that leveling up is not a one-time event. It's not one book, it's not one event, it's not one conversation, it's not one experience. It's accumulative,
Hmm.
right? And the mother of all learning is spaced repetition. A lot of people are going to attend a convention or come to an event or come to a training or read a book one time and expect results. No, you don't know it. You don't know it until you can do it. And to be transparent, you don't know it until you can teach somebody else to execute on it,
Right.
right? You're not in my mind, you're not a leader until you can produce leaders. You're not really a wealthy or rich person until you can duplicate what you've accomplished.
Right.
Uh, Otherwise, you just a solopreneur on a higher level. And I know I don't work as hard for that. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.